you have to suck pretty dang hard. I was so overwhelmed. Hey, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new around here, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you about the essentials for your newborn baby through the first 6 months. I chose to only put things on my registry for that period and to only purchase things for that period just because I didn't want to get a bunch of things that I didn't necessarily need. And I also figured I would want to wait to purchase other things until I could kind of see how my baby was. Like, I didn't want to get things and then find out like, oh no, he's not into that kind of a thing at all. So now I'm just stuck with these toys or these clothes or whatever that I'm not going to use. So if you're like me and you're more on the minimal side, or if you're on a budget, this will be really helpful, I think. So when I was creating my registry, I was really overwhelmed because of course, as a new mom, you want the best for your baby, and it's no secret that the newborn phase, those first like 2 to 3 months, are a joy and a delight, but they're definitely not without their challenges. And I think a lot of companies use that to their advantage and they market their items like, this is the one thing you need. But rest assured, in those first couple months especially, the main thing that your baby needs is you. So you have already won half the battle without doing anything. So the first thing that you're gonna want is a car seat and stroller. I think it is a good idea, especially if you're more on the minimal side, to get a car seat and stroller that like go together so that you can just plop the car seat onto the stroller. And if you are minimal and or if you're on a budget, I think it's really good to look into convertible convertible strollers if you are planning on having more than one baby, and that way your stroller can grow with your family as opposed to you buying a stroller and then needing to sell it or get rid of it and then purchase another one. Those can definitely be a little bit of an investment up front, but I think it's a worthwhile one and will save you money in the long run if you are planning on having more than one kid. And definitely don't be afraid to look at secondhand stores, because I've found that a lot of times the items that they accept are in really good condition. We also opted to get a little bit more of an expensive car seat. It's called the Peg Prego, I don't know the name of it, but it's Peg Prego, and it is a reclining car seat. So you can't recline it in the car, but for the first month or 2 of your baby's life, if you have them in the stroller, you can put your car seat and use that as like the stroller attachment, but I read that they're not supposed to be crunched up in the car seat for long periods of time because it's not ideal for their breathing. So it's better to have them in a reclined position, and that's why a lot of people end up with those like bassinet attachments. My problem with the bassinet attachment, being someone who is a little bit more on the minimal side, is that you're gonna use that for a month, maybe 2, and then your baby won't need that anymore. So it was a little bit more of a expensive car seat. I was really fortunate. My grandma gifted it to us, but it reclines back so that it's suitable as a car seat and it is suitable for them to use as a stroller attachment for like a long period of time because they can lean back. And I will link everything down below in the description box if you are interested in any of these items that I talk about. The next thing you'll need is a changing pad. So you definitely do not need a changing table. 100% not necessary. I do want to pause here and say, if you have back problems, then you don't need a changing table, but it really might help to have one so that you're not hunched over all the time. That being said, a changing pad can be really convenient because you can just take that to whatever room you're in with your baby. It's small. You actually might even be able to see ours is over there. It's really small. It's easy to carry around. And then if your baby goes to the bathroom, you just unfold it right there on the floor, on the couch, on the bed, and you can just change your baby right then and there. Super, super simple. They're very cheap, like probably anywhere from $10 to $20, and they have like little pockets and things that you can put like wipes and diapers in and things like that. The third thing is a baby bouncer, and if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a reclined chair that they can use when they don't have control over their head and they can't sit fully upright. This item, you guys, is one of my favorites because I use it every single day. Like, my son is 6 months old. We still use this thing every single day. He can sit upright pretty much unsupported. I still use this thing. I really, really love the one that we got personally. I don't know if other bouncers have these kind of features that this one has, but the first feature is that it has different incline settings. So you can use it when they're a brand new newborn because it will lay almost completely flat. It's like a little bit elevated, which is actually nice because they can see what you're doing. Like, you can put it next to you while you do some laundry or something like that, and they're not completely flat, so they'll be able to like look up and see what you're doing. And then it also has several other settings, and it gradually gets more and more upright. It also has a little newborn insert. So I've seen some that don't have that, and they just look like this big old seat for your tiny little baby. So the one that we got has a little newborn insert so that there's just a little bit more support for their hips and especially for their head, so they're not just like wobbling around all over the place. And like I said, I started using this thing very early on. It also looks a little bit more comfortable than your standard bouncer, I guess. And it was perfect because even though newborns aren't awake for very long, there were some times that I just needed to set him down for a moment. And sometimes, you know, especially in those first few months, like, they just want to be on you or near you like all the time, which of course, because they're just getting used to like living outside of your body. So of course they want to be around you. And the problem with putting him down in the bassinet is that then he's looking straight up and he can't see me. So I found that using this bouncer was great because he still was in a safe position, but he could see what I'm doing. And I've continued to use it for that exact reason, just so that he's in a safe place and he can see what I'm doing and I can just get something done really quick. The next thing you will need are clothes for your baby. So you could definitely stick to primarily onesies and PJs because probably in those first few months, you're not really going to be going out anyway, and you're probably going to be tired and sore, and it's just easy to like slap on a onesie or a little, you know, PJ, and that's it. If you want to take like some pictures, then it'd be good to get one or two like cutie little outfits, but definitely there's no need to fill up the majority of their wardrobe with a bunch of like fancy schmancy outfits because there's a good chance there's going to be like blowouts and leaks, and those are the types of outfits you don't want to get like poop all over. We only had like 10 newborn onesies about, and that ended up being perfect. So if you do want those like little cutie outfits, I would save those for when they're just like a little bit older. Probably around the 5 to 6 month mark, at least for myself, is when I've started dressing him more consistently in like an actual outfit and not just a onesie with like occasionally some pants on. The next thing that you'll want is the Frida nose sucker, which I actually have right here so I can show you. You could get the traditional like bulb looking sucker. The reason I didn't want that is because even though it might be easier to use, I will tell you now, it definitely might be easier to use, but it just seemed very unsanitary to me that you're sucking all of this snot into this thing and there's no good way to clean it. So I got this instead. You basically just put this part up to your baby's nose and then you are gonna suck the boogers out with this. And it comes apart so you can take this, wow, I got this on here good. You can take this off and you can rinse it out, and then there also is this little like piece of foam so that boogers don't shoot up into your mouth, and they come with little replacement foam pieces too. I like this thing. The only thing I will say is that you have to suck pretty dang hard. Like Alex and I were, I mean, we would say like, I feel like I'm gonna pass out after using this thing and sucking the boogers out, but you're not gonna need to do it all the time. It's kind of a labor of love, and like I said, I just like the cleanly factor with that. Before we get on to the next thing, if you are enjoying this video and you like motherhood, lifestyle, crunchy-ish living, kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. Just hit that button down there. I would love to see you around here more often, and it really helps out this channel. The next category we're gonna talk about is sleep. So first thing that you need for this is a safe place to put your baby to sleep. So generally that's going to be a bassinet. Now, even if you are planning on co-sleeping, I still think it's a good idea to have a bassinet just in case. You might be planning on co-sleeping and then you're like, nope, it's not working, I need a bassinet. Or you might need a place to put them down to nap. I think it's just a good idea to have one just in case. If you are minimal or on a budget, I did not know about this, so we got like an actual bassinet, and then around 3 months, he started to outgrow that bassinet, not lengthwise, but he was like moving around and hitting the sides of it and it was waking him up. So I found out that there is a convertible bassinet crib thing. I've only found one that I really liked, and we actually did end up getting this. It's an 8-in-1 Baby Leto convertible crib, just like the car seat, a little bit of an investment up front. Had I known about this from the beginning, I would have just purchased this, but it is a bassinet. It can convert into a mini crib, a standard crib, and then several different variations of a toddler bed. So I think it will save a lot of money and time as you go down the road, and you don't need to like every single stage get a new bed. Also, this one comes with the conversion kit. A lot of them sell you like the crib and all that, but then you have to get the conversion kit separately. So I thought that was a really nice feature. And we already have a bassinet, but now we have this too, so it's fine. But like I said, had I known about this, I would have just purchased this. Actually, another thing to mention regarding the bassinet is make sure that you get multiple sets of sheets and multiple waterproof covers as well, because I only got 2 to begin with, so 2 sheets, 2 waterproof covers, and I figured like, oh yeah, that'd be enough. Like, how many leaks could happen? There were a lot of leaks in the beginning. I don't know if like I just didn't know how to put on a diaper or what, but we did a lot of laundry that first month. So I found that 4 sheets, 4 waterproof covers was perfect for us. And then of course, like, leaks happen less and less as you go. I also think newborns just pee like a lot. Like, it was such a normal thing for me for me to change his diaper and like him pee right as I was changing it. And it was like, all right, next diaper. The next thing is Velcro swaddles. I particularly really like the Halo Baby swaddles because I had another Velcro swaddle that I got it on Amazon. I can't remember the brand. I think it maybe was Kia Babies, but I'm not 100% sure. And I did not love those because they were just too big. I actually got quite a few different types of swaddles, and while I do like the traditional swaddles, like they're really soft, nice material, I think that you really could just get away with the Velcro swaddles. The reason I like the Halo Baby ones is because they have little armholes that you put your baby's arms through, obviously, and then you can use it as a swaddle with arms in or one arm out or both arms out. So it just grows with your baby. It's just easy to use. You don't have to worry about learning the correct fold to get your baby so that they can't bust out of there. I don't know. I think it's so much easier. It saves you a lot of time, and I think that will probably work for most babies. The next thing is a yoga ball. You guys, probably a lot of pregnant women already have this because a lot of times you like will bounce and do little yoga ball exercises in that 3rd trimester of pregnancy. Don't deflate it once you have your baby. I did, and my sister who had a baby just 3 months before me and my dad, they both told me like, use that yoga ball, and I was like, no, I'm putting it away. I don't want to look at it anymore. But good gracious, when he was screaming his little head off for no reason, which that does happen. Sometimes they are just like inconsolable and you've gone through the checklist of things and like they're just crying because I don't know why. I finally broke down and I told my husband like, blow up the stupid ball, and we started bouncing him on it, and like he just stop crying. And he's 6 months old. and I still use this yoga ball and just like light bouncing to get him to go to sleep sometimes. I use the yoga ball more than I use our glider. I like almost never use our glider anymore. So yoga ball, which actually that's perfect if you're on a budget. Like, you don't need the glider, just get the yoga ball and you'll be good. The last thing for sleep is something for white noise. I didn't put on here a white noise machine because if that is in your budget and you want to get a white noise machine, something just for that, go ahead, by all means get it. But we still don't have a white noise machine. I've used my phone and my Spotify for white noise at one point, which I actually really liked because I'd put my phone in our room while he was napping, and it was just like a good way to get me off my phone. When we go visit my parents, we still do that. We use Alex's like iPad thing, tablet. Or if you have an Echo Dot, which we have in our room over there, we also use that. Right now for nap times and bedtimes, you don't have to even use Spotify. There's tons of like baby sleep and white noise playlists on YouTube that you could use instead. But something for white noise. And that actually was another thing that initially I was like, no, he needs to learn to sleep in the silence. And for the first couple weeks he did. For the first couple weeks, no issues with sleep. He would sleep in the silence at night, or he would sleep out in our living room, and whatever we were doing wasn't a problem. But then all of a sudden it did become a problem. One night he just like would not settle down. I turned on some white noise and like just choop, he just went right to sleep. So we did end up using white noise very regularly. It's helpful not only because they say that the womb is really loud, so the white noise kind of helps like mimic the womb. It also helps drown out some noise like in your house while they're napping. So just don't be stubborn, just get something for white noise. The next category is play. I kept this one very, very small because for those first 2 months, they're really not going to be doing much of anything. And then you can purchase things, I think, as you see fit, as they start getting a little bit older and maybe like start being able to do a little bit more than just lay there and look around. I think it is nice, even in those first couple months, to have a little like play mat for them. So like the mat that has a little something that goes over them that they can look at. That very first month, they might not use that hardly at all, because I remember Kai would basically wake up, eat, maybe stay awake for like 10, 15 minutes. I don't even know about that. And then just like fall right back asleep. But it's a nice thing to have for them, especially in that second month when they start staying awake for a little bit longer. You can put them on it and they can like look up at things. There's like different sensory ones. And then the next thing is like abstract cards or an abstract book. That same thing that they can look at. You can put that next to them. You can show it to them, especially for those first few months where they can't really do much of anything. This just gives them something that's enriching for their brain, and it's just something other than the standard, like put them in the crib, hold them, feed them. I personally really liked having just those couple of things in the beginning, and then it was fun to purchase little toys for him as he got older so that I could make sure that I was getting, one, developmentally appropriate toys, but then also things that I thought that he specifically would be into. Next up is food. Now, I suppose this entire category is kind of optional, but just hear me out before you skip to the next section. So the first thing here is a breast pump. I think that this is a good one to have because, first of all, most of the time you can get one for free or really, really cheap through your insurance. So it's kind of like you might as well just get one. And even if you're more minimal like me, again, just hear me out on this. I didn't plan on getting a breast pump until I was close to going back to work. I ended up getting laid off and not needing to go back to work, but I got one in the third trimester only because my girlfriend sent me one and was like, hey, this one is like mega on sale. Just like, you maybe should just go ahead and get it. I'm gonna get it. So I was like, okay, it's like $17. I'll get it. So I had it, but I had no intention of using it until I thought I was gonna go back to work. What happened was I ended up getting so engorged when my milk came in. It was super, super painful. I mean, like hard to sleep because just like anything touching my chest hurt. So I ended up going to a lactation consultant. also because breastfeeding was just so painful those first couple weeks. She had told me, I'm glad you came because it looks like you're on the brink of mastitis. And she told me, go ahead and pump for like 5 to 10 minutes in the morning and at night until your supply regulates. Not so much to tell your body to produce more milk, but just enough that you're a little bit more comfortable. So even if you're planning on exclusively breastfeeding your baby, I still think it's good to have a pump. The second thing is going to be bottles with a variety of nipples. There actually is like a variety pack. I didn't get this because I didn't know it was a thing, but I'll link it down below because I definitely think that's worth getting. I had no idea that certain nipples might not be appealing to certain babies. I knew that there was like slow flow nipples, but that was like my only concern. So I got a slow flow nipple, but again, I think it's good to have bottles on hand. This is just one of those like just in case, which generally is not my shtick. I normally am like, like there are some things to have just in case, but more often than not, I'm not gonna keep something around for like that rainy day that may or may not ever come. I just wanted to make sure if like something happened, if I got in a car accident or something like that and I couldn't feed my baby, that there was like a way right away to make sure that he had food. So you don't need to get like 15 bottles. You could get like a 2-pack or a 4-pack, just something. I also think it's a good idea to have the little nipples because there's a little trick if you plan on giving your baby like probiotics, or if you end up needing to give them medication, which is probably going to be liquid, instead of like shooting it into their mouth with a syringe, which I didn't love the idea of doing, you can just put a little bit of breast milk and like mix it with whatever the probiotic or the medication. You just put it in the nipple if it's just a little bit of liquid, and you put that in their mouth, and then they can like suck it up and drink it that way instead of you just like shooting it in the back of their throat or like in the side of their cheek. And the last thing in this category is bags to store breast milk. If you end up needing to pump milk, even just to relieve engorgement, you might as well just store that milk that you get just in case something happens, or in case, you want to go hang out with some friends and your husband can feed the baby, or you might actually find it to be really helpful when your baby starts solid. And a lot of times it's really helpful to mix like pureed foods with breast milk just so that it's like a more familiar taste. So then you'll already have a stash of breast milk that you can use to make that baby food. Okay, so that actually is all I have for like those essentials that you really, really need. I did add in another category of a couple of things that are definitely not necessary, but really, really, really convenient. The first thing is a baby wearing device. There's a few different types. I actually had 3. First, I was gifted the ring sling because people were just like raving about the ring sling and it looked very simple to use. I actually didn't end up loving that one because it was almost too simple. Like I didn't feel like he was secure in there as a newborn when his little head was just bobbling around. So I didn't end up loving that one. We also got the more like heavy duty ergonomic carrier that's just like a little more bulky, and we use that one like in the grocery store if we're like out on a walk and he doesn't want to be in his stroller, we could put him in that. The one that I really ended up liking for just like baby wearing around the house was the Kia Babies wrap. It's kind of like a cheaper version of the Solly Baby, which you maybe have seen on Instagram. That thing is like everywhere. I actually would really like to try the Solly Baby wrap for future pregnancies. It's definitely more on the pricey side, so if you're on a budget, that might not be the one for you, but it looks stretchier than the Kia Babies wrap. The Kia Babies is like $25, so if you want an affordable baby wearing device, definitely check that one out. That is what I ended up getting. I did like it. It felt a lot more secure than the ring sling, and you do have to like wrap it a certain type of way, which might feel kind of weird the first few times, but then like once you get it, it's like nothing and really convenient, just really great. I think in that newborn phase, you might find that sometimes the only way to get your baby to like settle down is if you're holding them. And so that way you can put them in the little wrap and you can go about whatever you're doing. The last thing is a wet bag, just a small one to put in your diaper bag. Again, not something you necessarily need. You could also use a plastic bag for this instead, but I didn't want to always have to worry about having a plastic bag on hand. Whereas the wet bag, if you end up using it, you just wash it and then pop it back in your bag. It's great because if you have like a blowout or if they pee everywhere in public, then you have a place where you can put those soiled things and zip it up and you don't have to worry about the smell or anything like that. It's not something that you'll probably use a lot, but I think that it's super convenient when you do need to use it. Okay, so that is all I have for you. I hope that if you are making your registry and you're super overwhelmed, that this made it a little bit less overwhelming. And if you're like, Amber, you missed this thing, put it in the comments down below so other mamas can see that. If you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up and check out this video right here if you are a mama-to-be, which is the essential postpartum items that you need, which is also more on the minimal side as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!